Right, let's continue. So now we want to actually read from the database. We want to take those entries that have been created and throw them into this list so that they can be displayed on our activity. Okay, so to do that, the first thing we need is a database reference. So up here I'm going to create the database reference DB, and I'll initialize it here. DB is equals to firebase-database.getInstance.getReference, and then we say .child, the table is entries, and then we say .child again, and we want the entries belonging to this particular user. So auth.getCurrentUser, .getUniqueID, getUID. Okay, good. Next thing, we want to read from this database. So to do that, we simply say db.add child event listener. So there's two. There's add child event listener, which I'll go ahead and create, and then you say new child event listener. It will give us quite a bunch of code, all of this. So in fact what I'll do is I'll cut it, and instead I'll say read entries. Let's do it from a method just to keep our worksheet a bit neat. So we say read entries, and then we say create method. Simply click the method, go to the light bulb, create method. So it will create this for us, and I can paste that there. Okay, so this is the one that we'll use. There is another though, so let me create it so I can give a short explanation. Add value event listener. Okay, so these are the two that we can use. A value event listener, which is relatively brief, or a child event listener, which is much longer. The difference is, if you know that your database is going to continuously get new entries, such as this one, people can continuously create diary entries, then you would use a child event listener so that you can listen for each new child that is created. If on the other hand you just wanted one value, perhaps you wanted somebody's email address, a value that will just stay the same more or less for a long time, or you wanted somebody's name or their username, etc., then you'd use a value event listener, and you'd grab that value and do what you will with it. Okay, so that's just a quick explanation. Let's get rid of that, and we get our child event. We use our child event listener. As you can see, it has a bunch of methods. On child added, what should we do when a new child is created? On child changed, if it's updated, what should happen? On child removed, on child moved, on cancelled. So it deals with all of those. And for now, the one we're interested in is on child added. So first, let's do this. Log D, just type logd, press enter for this first menu item, and remove the tag. Let's just say tag underscore data snapshot, and let's concatenate on the message data snapshot dot to string. So what does this do? It will create a log message. The message tag will be tag data snapshot, and the message itself will be on child added data snapshot, which was passed to us here, to string. So even before I do anything else, I'm just going to go ahead and run this. Alright, so here's the app. It's running, that's good, but of course nothing's happened. There's nothing going on. We haven't actually done anything that can be seen on the interface. What we have done is we've created this log message. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my logcat. Here it is at the bottom. If you can't see this menu item, go ahead and press Alt and 6, and we get all of this. These are our log messages. So let's filter these, and I'll filter by simply typing here tag underscore data snapshot. So now we filtered only those log messages with our tag data snapshot, and this is what we receive. So can make it bigger. We get our data snapshot, and the key is that, and the value is all of this until somewhere about there. We can compare this to our database. So if we go over to our browser, so for example here we have hello, I am Imo, we have this link, we have this time, and we have the title being hello. And back in Android Studio we get that exact thing, hello, hello, I am Imo, the title is hello, we get our link somewhere, we get our key, all of that. So essentially all of this is just to show that when you run this child event listener and it gives you a data snapshot, what that means, what data snapshot means, is that it's giving you your data in a JSON format. So now we can go through that JSON format and we can grab the data that we want. Okay, take note also, it filtered this, rather it went through the database on the parameters we gave it, through the children we gave it. So it went to entries and it gave us only the entries belonging to our current user. It did not give us users because we didn't ask for that, and it didn't give us, well, we only have one user, but if there were other users it wouldn't have given us those entries. Something worth noting. Okay, so now we know that we have our data, it's in that JSON format. How can we make use of it? The first thing we'll do is we'll create an entry, and we'll just call it entry is equal to, and now we say data snapshot dot get value, and within the brackets we say entry dot class. So this is what I meant when I mentioned casting earlier. Essentially we've created a new object, and we've said that it's equivalent to the data snapshot's values, and we want to cast it immediately to the entry.class. So going to the data, take the body for example and place it in the body variable. Going to the data again, take the time value, place it into the time variable, and so on and so forth. So we've casted directly into the class. Okay, good. Next, we want to add this new class. We want to add this new class into our entries list. So we say entries.add entry. Very simple. And then finally, we take our adapter and we notify it that there is new data. So notify data set change will tell the adapter that a new entry has come in, and it should reflect that change onto our application. And really, that is it. So we can give this a shot and see what happens. Let's run it. And here we go. So the app just started up, and we have finally our list. So we can scroll down. However, I can see that our titles are not coming through. So let's see why that might be. What I'm going to do first of all is I'll just continue using my log. So I'm going to come here, and on child added, this time I will say, instead of data snapshot to string, I will say entry dot get title plus a space plus entry dot get body. Okay, I'm going to run this. So I'll open up my logcat. Let's clear these logs for now, but we'll maintain the filter. Alright, it's installed successfully, and now I can see that for 3 of them at least I have both titles and bodies, and for 1 I don't. And now if I go back to the application, I still do not have any titles or the bodies showing. Okay, fine. Let's go back to the code and see what might be going on. So all the way down in our view holder, sorry, not our view holder, in our onBind view, that's where we're setting that data. So string entry string is equals to that, and then if entry.getTitle.length is 0, then another if this is greater than 12, finally do that. Okay, to begin with, we'll just make things simple. So I would like to continue with this code, but just to see whether it works, I'm going to say entry dot get body. So let's just see if this works. It could be that some logic we typed here wasn't quite right, and it's leading to us not having anything to see. So let's try this to begin with. And there we go. So it's working. Hello, I am Imo, testing. We get that, the F. And remember, this was all dummy data, so I don't expect any of it to make sense, but it's showing up just as we want. Let me make a change so the body works. Of course, I actually wanted the title. I'll run this, and there we go. So it's saying hello, test, and so on and so forth. Excellent. I can see that my gradient has worked, so it's starting at black and slowly fading away into the image, but you can still see the image in the background, so my transparency has worked. Again, something that I'm glad about. And finally, let's see if the click works. I noticed this one doesn't have an image. I'm thinking in the database it's not, we didn't have an image for that one, but I'll take a look at that later. It really doesn't matter. I'm just glad it's working. So another thing we'd put is we had set an on-click listener. Let's see if that's working. So I'm going to click any random one, and there's my toast. Excellent. It's saying clicked. So far so good. This is looking very, very promising. But now here's the true test. I'm gonna press my plus button at the top. Now it will show me my images, and I'm going to select a random one. It's taken me back to the application. Let's put this. A title and a body. And I'm going to save. It says uploading image. It says posting entry, this time in the title. Good. And now it's come back to the app, and if I scroll down, excellent, I have my bikes, and the item has loaded, which means it listened for children being added. It saw that one was added, and it went ahead and ran this entire thing again. So it said entry, it got the value and put it in the class, and importantly, it told the adapter that there was a new entry and it should reflect that on the list. So this has been a success, a full success. Now, let us change this. So right now it's showing us, oops, it's going to sleep. There we go. Right now it's showing us clicked. When we click, that's of course not what we want to do. We want to actually have some useful functionality. Let's quickly work on that. Alright, so when I click my element, I'd like it to show up as a dialog, almost as if, almost as we are done for inserting. Only instead of edit text, we'll just show text views to show them the actual data that they put in, the actual diary entry. So that means the first thing we have to do is create our custom dialog. I'm going to click dialog, Control C and Control V to copy it, and I'll change this to reading dialog. So let me not waste any time with this. I'm just going to create it, and I'll make it available to you guys in the description. So here it is, very simple, very straightforward. There are only three major widgets. The image view, which is about here, the title, and the body. The only interesting thing I've done is I've made use of quite a few inner layouts. So my main one is a linear layout, and then I have a relative layout that will hold the image and one other item I'll tell you about in a moment. okay, the text view is just hanging out on its own here in the middle, and then at the bottom I have a scroll view, and the scroll view only has a linear layout with a text view inside. In fact, the linear layout this time may have been unnecessary, but in any case the user may type a very long body, and this space that we provide here may not be enough to contain it. So what we do is we create a text view within a scroll view so that we can scroll through whatever they've typed. Okay, so back to this relative layout that has our image, and what I want to do is I want to add another image view. So once again, I'll just copy in the text, and you guys can fetch it from, you can either pause or you can fetch it from the description. So here it is. Here's what I've created. It is an image view yet again, and here it is on the very edge, this little box, and it's going to be for deleting. Now as you can see, the the source is at drawable, delete foreground, and there's an error because I haven't created it. Now this is what we'll do together. So this you won't find in the description. All you have to do, it's quite simple. Go to drawable, right click, we'd already done this before, new image asset, select clip art. Mine is already selected, but if it's not, go ahead and select clip art, and in the search bar just search for delete, and we will take this, say OK, and then change that to delete, and next, and finish. So that creates for us our delete icon, and there it's now showed up. So if the user wants to get rid of the entry, they can click that. Okay, now let's go over to the code. So here we are in our on click, and immediately we'll just go ahead and get rid of that. And then I'll fetch my dialog. So I'm cheating a little here, and you guys have seen that in this tutorial it's led to some problems, but I'm gonna have faith in myself, and I'm going to fetch my dialog from here and just copy all of this. So from dialog, remember this is the dialog we used to create new entries. So from dialog all the way till this edit text, and then we'll just make a few changes. Go back down. So here's our one click, and we can paste that in. Okay, so dialog is equals to that, that's fine. Dialog.set content view, it won't be diary dialog, it will be reading dialog. And then again we want it to be large, want it to fill the screen, so this line of code is necessary. Image view image, and indeed my image here, okay, this time it's entry image, so let's change that. Entry image. Then I'll duplicate this line, and I'll say image view delete is equals to all of this delete. Delete matches up to my deleting, my little bin icon. Next we have our edit text, but this time it's actually a text view title and text view body, and the IDs are title and body, and we can confirm that here this one is title and this one is body, so that's fine. Those are the only widgets that we need to interact with. Okay, having having declared and initialized them, we can now give them some text. So here at the top we want the entry, so we'll say entry is equal to entries, the list dot get, and then we run an inbuilt method called get adapter position. So this gives us the current entry, the one that the user clicks on. Okay, so now we can set the image view. Oh no, we're doing this with glide, so glide dot with context dot load entry dot get image URL dot into, this time this image view. Okay, so that's the first one, and then the title dot set text entry dot get title, simple as that. Control D to duplicate, this becomes body, and this becomes get body. Good, so far so good. And the final thing that we haven't used is this delete. So we'll just say delete.set on click listener, new on click listener, and if the person wants to delete, they can first see a confirmation message. You shouldn't just allow your user to immediately delete. They may press it by mistake. So let's give them an alert dialog dot builder, I'll call it builder, is equals to new alert dialog, and we throw in the context, and then we just set its parameters. So builder dot set title, and the title can be delete entry, and then dot set message, and the message can be are you sure, and then we set a positive button if they are sure, and the positive button will be delete, and the second argument you say new, and you just start typing on click listener, select the first one that shows up, gives you a bunch of code. Let's leave it for now. We go on to the next thing, set negative button if they decide not to, so the negative button will say cancel. Second argument, again just new on click listener, and select that first one. Again, let's just leave it, and then we say dot show. Okay, so this actually can stay blank, because if you press cancel and if you press any button inside an alert dialog and there's nothing within it, it will just cancel that. It will just dismiss that alert dialog. So this is fine. Here we can actually do some work. So we need to delete this particular entry. And how do we do that? Well, first we need to know what the key of the entry is. So let's go back up to where we are fetching our entries, and we're doing that from our child listener here. But remember, this will just give us our four elements, these three and this one. These are all that will be casted into the class. To get the ID, we need to do it explicitly. So we need to say entry.setID, and the ID is in the data snapshot. So we say data snapshot dot get key. Simple as that. So now we know what this key is, right? This or this or this one, and we can use that to differentiate, to tell Firebase which one to delete. Okay, good. So back to our on click listener. And now we can say db.child entry.getKey. Oh, sorry. Yeah, actually, yes, get ID. Entry.getID. So our DB, you remember, is, let's go to it. It's going into entries, it's going into our current user, and it's stopping there. So we need to tell it to go further. We need to tell it to go into another child. It's going into entries, it's going into our current user. We need to tell it to go into another child, which is this unique ID. All right. And then once we get to that child, we simply say dot and remove value. Simple as that. And then if it's successful, so I'll say dot add on success listener. Let me terminate first, and then new on success listener. If it's successful, first thing I want to do is dialog.dismiss. So this will get rid of the dialog we've just created, this one, the one that was showing them the entry. We don't want to still show them something that's been deleted. And then, very important, we have to tell the adapter that an item has been removed. Because remember, the adapter is just holding a list of items that has been given to it, this list of items. It's not directly connected to Firebase, so it cannot directly detect that that change has happened. Okay, so how do we do that? We simply say adapter.notify item removed, and we tell it where, and we say get adapter position. Simple as that. Alright, let's run this and see what happens. Alright, here it is, it's running. So what I did is I created a new item directly from the backend, directly from the Firebase console that had a bit more text, and it's this first one. So I'm going to click it and let's see what happens. Nothing happens. Let's go back to the code. So here's our dialog, but one thing I forgot to do was to show it, and I want to show it here right after I've set the text. No, right after I've set the on click listener. So here, dialog dot show. Run that again. Actually, before I run it, I don't forget, there's a bit of logical error here. All I'd forgotten to do was add an else. Entry string is equal to entry.get title, and then entry string. There we go. And then for this one, entry string is equal to entry dot get body. There. Okay, so all I done was I hadn't given it alternatives. So now if the length is not equal to 0, that is if they've given a title, then this else part should run, and it will simply just set that to get title. Let me terminate. Yes, and now we can run. Okay, there it is, it's running, and right off the bat I can see that it the entry string is showing exactly what it should be, so that's good. And now let's go back up and let me select my first entry, and there is my dialog. Excellent. So my dear diary is showing there, my icon is showing there, and by the way I didn't mention this, but the icon, it had a background color that also had some transparency, so that's why we can still see the image slightly in the background. Okay, and very importantly, it can scroll, so I'd put some dummy text here, and as you can see, even though it's very long, we can still go through the full thing. Excellent. And now for the true test, so to speak, I'm gonna click my button, and it's asking me if I'm sure I want to delete, so I'm gonna say delete, and there we go. It deleted, it got rid of the item from the list, and it dismissed the dialog. Everything worked. That is fantastic. And with that, my friends, I'd like to call it. So there's still quite a bit we can do, and I'll mention all of them when I wrap this up and just show the app on its own. But very importantly, there's one main thing that remains. So this is my challenge to you. In this application we have, oh, it's gone off again. There, it's back. In this application, we have done the key things that projects have to have. We have authenticated, right? So we can click sign out here and we'll be able to sign back in. We have done the database operations, so we can click this and we can click an image and we can create, although I'm not going to do it, we can create an entry. So let's go back. We can read the entries, as you can see from this list, and when I click a particular one, we can read the entries, and we can delete the entries. So we can press this and we can delete, and it will go away. So we can do all of that, but that means we are missing just one key element. We cannot yet delete update items. So remember, the 4 items are create, read, update, and delete. We've done 3 of those, but we haven't done update. So that's my challenge to you. If you'd like to continue with this, find out how to update in Firebase and how to deal with that update action on your Android side. Alright, go ahead and do that. But for now, congratulations on getting this far. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And we can say that this picture diary project is wrapped.